everybody. All right, 6 o'clock. Let's call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Here.
Gustafson,
Here.
Perry,
Here.
J.R. Smith,
Here.
Brabner, Mayor.
I'm here. Our invocation and pledge will be led by Councilmember Kurt Smith. If you please rise.
Let's pray. Father, we do thank you so much for just this community we live in, God. Thank you for the friendships and just the privilege of living here. And God, thank you for the privilege of serving this city. God, I pray for wisdom for myself and for those on the council tonight as we make decisions regarding the business of the city. And God, I do pray also, as always, for our EMS, fire, and police. God, just be with them as they protect us each day. God, keep them safe. God, I pray for our staff. Do such a great job for us, and just the everyday running of the day-to-day running of the city. So, God, be with us here tonight. Again, give us wisdom, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I ask for the approval of minutes of the previous meeting, work session May 20, 2024, and the regular meeting May 20, 2024. Are there any corrections?
Can we add the names of the junior city council to the minutes so that it will be in the history book somewhere?
Certainly, Becky, if you would add that as an addendum to the minutes. Also, if you'll note that the date that is shown on those minutes is incorrect, Becky. Not June 3rd on either sets.
No, on the front page it says May 20. It was not May 20, that's what's wrong. May 20 should say June 30.
Oh, so the agenda item is wrong. Okay.
The date on the agenda item.
So the minutes are correct, just the agenda item's wrong. Okay. As Mary Lynn used to say, that young computer. Nah, I'm gonna give the computer all the credit. Committee reports, Ms. Gaines. Mr. Connor.
No further reports, Mayor.
Chief Barber.
No report, Mayor.
Chief Hugh.
No report, Mayor.
Casey, have anything?
No report, Mayor.
Great. We'll open up the floor for public participation. If you'd like to address this council, now is your opportunity. Please give us your name and address. The podium is open. Mash the speak button.
Michael Ballista, 835 Artillery Range North, Spanish Fort Estates here. Sorry, with a big crowd here, I thought I was going to be like the third or fourth person to speak. I'd like to address traffic concern on 225. We've been the benefactors in my neighborhood of two recent additional stop signs, one on Southern Way. The other is an additional third sign that is now on Spanish Main. The exit or entrance to the community off 225 onto Spanish Main, or the exit or entrance here off of Blakely, we've got a hill, and the amount of traffic that has increased over that hill due to the increase in population in the area, allergies with the voice. I was wondering if the Spanish Fort City Council could at all talk to the Baldwin County Council, possibly address Alabama Department of Transportation. You've got a large park program that is about to be developed off of 225 on the city purchased land. Either a reduction in speed from Spanish Fort Boulevard to the bridge at Bay Minette, or possibly some other way to slow area new residents to get used to a slower issue, possibly with the future park coming in our city's near future. That's all.
Sir, can I get you to spell your name, please, before you leave?
Yes, capital B-A-U-S like Sam, T like Tom. Baust.
To let you know, there are some improvements that will be starting soon. I hadn't heard a start date. I know AlDOT is designing some improvements from Oak Ridge subdivision all the way up to the northern entrance of the estates to add a turning lane on the Blakely Way when you're heading north, add a turning lane on the Spanish Main when you're heading south, putting a third lane all the way through there to help with the turning situations. As far as the speed limit is 45 through there now. It jumps up to 50 when you get further north. Do I see them reducing that right now? Probably not. It is AlDOT controlled, but I think with the improvements that you'll see coming, and don't ask me to pinpoint a date for AlDOT to start anything or finishing because I cannot speak for them, I can assure you. But that project is near the final stages of design. I know you've probably seen them out there working a lot lately with survey crews and those things. So it won't be long before that project will start, which we hope will alleviate the problem. Listen, we all know, just like on 31, patch milling that starts right there basically at 031 and runs up to
Fire station and runs up.
no, just past Pigeon. Anyway, Coleman Lane, excuse me. That's a patch job. It's got to be 4-laned. It's got to be 4-lane all the way to Stapleton. We have had meetings with AlDOT, City of Loxley, and ourselves, and with Director Cooper from AlDOT and all his regional folks. There is a comprehensive plan, a corridor management plan, correct me, that's being developed for that area to move it long-term to a 4-lane project. Don't look for that in the next 2 years. That's not going to happen. We're going to fight this battle, but it is an AlDOT issue, so we will constantly be pushing on them for that. Same thing goes with 225. You know, I think long-term, and I know prior to the city becoming a city, there was an opportunity for 225 to be made into a 4-lane, and the citizens didn't want it, which now I know everybody wished they had it. But 225 is going to have to be 4-laned also.
I
The
appreciate
bottleneck's going to be the bridge right there, and that's going to be very costly to do. But here again, that's a state highway, out of our control a little bit, other than us pushing them. But thank you for your comments, and just to let you know, there are projects coming to help a little bit, okay? Thank you.
Do we have an update on 31? Because AlDOT said 2 weeks, and we are at 2 weeks right now.
I can't speak without that. I mean, I had talked to him today. I'll try to find out this week, but they had some rain days, so I can't tell you where it is. Anybody else? Okay, moving on to the agenda. A few announcements. Congressman Carl sent out a survey to Spanish Fort residents about feedback for the Postal Service. Please send any comments, pro and con, to Congressman Carl and Congressman Moore about your experiences with the Postal Service. We have hard copy here that we'll be glad to give you, and we'll take care of it from there. So the only way we're going to get a post office is continuing badgering them constantly. So we will continue to do that. I did hear, Mr. Connor, I've been meaning to tell you this, I did hear that Spanish Fort was the topic of conversation in a congressional meeting in North Alabama, because Huntsville was pushing for a big new post office, and Congressman, what's his name, Strong or somebody up there, said, I know Spanish Fort wants their post office, but we want one too. So we'll see what, maybe between all of us pushing the same direction. I'm glad people in this state and in DC are aware of where we are. So those are good positive things. The City of Spanish Fort Public Library will be closed Thursday, July 4th to celebrate Independence Day holiday. And as a reminder, pursuant to ordinance number 292-2007, residents of the City of Spanish Fort are allowed to discharge fireworks on July 4th only between the hours of 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Is that the correct times? Okay. We request that everyone be courteous of their neighbors and discharge fireworks in a safe manner. And please be aware of your four-legged friends out there. If you know you got a neighbor's dog that may not do very well with fireworks, please take that in consideration with what you do. There is no old business. On the new business we have announced an appointment to the Planning Commission. Our building inspector, Christian Lazenby Blanton, has been nominated to fill that position on the Planning Commission. And now we have the pleasure of swearing in our junior council members that were recently voted on to the junior council here. Becky, if you'll come forward. I think we have Luke Bill, Hallie Few, Krista Hawkins out of town, Anna K. Rigby, Darby Smith, and Adrian Vickers. Chief, would you get some pictures? One of y'all.
I will support the Constitution of the United States of America. And the Constitution of the State of Alabama. So long as I continue a citizen thereof. And that I will faithfully and honestly discharge the duties. Of the office of Junior City Council Member. Upon which I am about to enter. Faithfully and honestly to the best of my ability, so help me God.
I know this is going to be a great junior council. There's no doubt in my mind. I tell you, the interview process that we had with these outstanding young people, we got to be so proud of where we are as a city. We're so fortunate to have each and every one of y'all. We look forward to working with you. First project's Dog Park is coming close. We're going to get there. So if you would, go up and introduce yourself to all the city council members. I know you met them during the interview, but do that again. But thank you so much from everybody in the city.
I'd like to say that, you know, as a sponsor and mentor, I'm excited to work with these young people because young people have great ideas. They're a vital part of our community. In the past, you know, we've done Jimmy Faulkner cleanups. You know, they're vital to participating in our Christmas activities, and so many other things. But these are your young people getting involved in their community. This is their community too, and so I'm just very proud that they've chosen to stand up and participate. So anyway, kudos.
Not anyone else? I'd like to present ordinance number 668, 2024, an ordinance granting a non-exclusive franchise to Mediacom Southeast LLC for the purpose of maintaining distribution lines, provision of cable television within the public right-of-ways of the city of Spanish Fort. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, Mediacom presently provides service within the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort, and they have requested an extension of their franchise agreement for another term. We have several requests for franchises, and as we discussed in the work session, we are moving toward a more standardized franchise agreement for cable television providers. And so I think I recommend that you postpone action on this item at this time to a subsequent meeting.
Discussion from the council? This has been a long, drawn-out road. And I would love to see this one and the next item get completed sometime in our lifetime. So it'll be like 4-lane in 31. So, David, if you would certainly push them, I'd appreciate it. Any other discussion? That will be held over to your July 1st agenda. Presenting ordinance number 670, 2024, an ordinance granting a non-exclusive franchise to Comcast of Alabama, LLC, for the purpose of maintaining distribution lines for the provision of cable television within the public rights of ways within the city of Spanish Fort, Alabama. This item, too, will be on July 1st agenda. Any discussion from the council? I'd like to present ordinance number 671, 2024, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the city of Spanish Fort, establishing the zoning classification certain property as B2 local business district. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, Alabama Code Section 11-52-85 allows for a property owner to request pre-zoning of property before it's annexed into the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort. The owner of this property is Mag 7 LLC, and they've requested that the property be pre-zoned to B2 local business district. This property is located at the northeast quadrant of County Road 40 and State Highway 225. They've requested the property be rezoned to B2. The property owners also own the property across the street, which is approximately 1,600 acres, presently occupied by the Longleaf development. There is a phase of that for residential lots that's been constructed, and they have additional plans for development, and they'll be submitting a PUD for that site. The Planning Commission held a public hearing and forwards a positive recommendation for the rezoning of that acreage as depicted on the plat.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? And Casey, thank you for blowing this up on the wall so all could see a little bit better. I think some of the comments I heard during the work session, we would like to make sure, if possible, I know it's sometimes hard to do, but these keys on the bottom do not necessarily match the colors up top, so it's hard to tell what they really zoned. If we could work on making that more accurate. Casey, the one immediately to the south of the proposed property, what is that currently zoned?
That one is currently zoned R1. It's same color, different opacity. The map has a little bit of, it's a little more see-through than the colors on the table, but it's the same.
I guess it's close, but it's not quite there. If there's any way we can make that stand out, I think it'd help all of us in our determination of what we've got and what we have around it. Any other discussion?
I think we also should add that the shaded property was annexed in years ago in the Highland PUD. That's why property so far north up 225 is actually in the city limits.
Actually, I don't think we touched 225 at any point up there right now.
It's up that
Yeah,
way is all
yeah.
I'm saying.
I had to think, but I think, yeah, it's all done in, when was that, 2008, 2010? Long
It's
time
about
ago.
approximately 2-year period of time of annexing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion on this item? I'd like to announce that we'll have a public hearing Monday, July 1st, 2024, to hear any comments in opposition to or in favor of the proposed ordinance. I'd like to present ordinance number 672, 2024, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, changing zoning classification of certain property known as Kirby PUD to a planned unit development, and establishing the zoning classification of certain property as part of the Kirby PUD as a planned unit development. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, the owner of this property, Kirby Properties LLC, has requested that the property be pre-zoned prior to annexation of the subject property. Part of the property is just to the east of the I-10 Commerce Center and inside the corporate limits of the City of Spanish Fort, and has a B3 zoning classification. The property to the south of the existing I-10 Commerce Park and that land is outside the corporate limits of the city. They have requested that it receive plan unit development approval prior to being annexed into the corporate limits of the city. Attached is a legal description of the property in Exhibit A. Also attached is a map, that map showing the subject property and its relationship to the city. We also have the Kirby PUD master plan for the site that is also attached as an exhibit. They propose to construct on the vast majority of the property single-family residential dwellings of various lot sizes. In addition, there is a portion of it it's actually to the east of the property, but it's on the bottom side of this map. It says C Note 1 to this sheet. They have requested that that property be set aside and made available for the construction of mini warehouses. That type of use with the appropriate buffering may be okay in the area. There are other commercial uses that the Planning Commission felt would be inappropriate, so we have required them to include a note in the upper left-hand corner regarding the use of the property, and it says future commercial area for the construction of mini warehouses only, to be designed and constructed in accordance with the zoning ordinance and all applicable rules and regulations related to mini warehouses. That would include spacing, access to the property, buffering, fencing, any other screening requirements that would be necessary in that area based on the fact that there are residential properties in the area. Also, the previous plan submitted did show access to the mini warehouse site off of the road to be constructed. Lee Road is only improved to a certain point, so before they can construct that, they have to submit that as a site plan to the Planning Commission, and those would be the issues that would be addressed during the site plan process so far as access, ingress, and egress to and from that site. That road going off of Lee Road is a secondary access. The main access would come off Old Highway 31, and that would be the main entrance and ingress and egress to the property. In addition, there was concerns expressed at the Planning Commission level regarding traffic. There are some pretty long straight-of-ways, especially the main road coming in, and one way to slow down traffic, they put in some traffic circles in a couple of places, but also put in some three-way stops in order to slow traffic in that area. That was something that the Planning Commission talked about through the planning process. The Planning Commission held a public hearing and forwards a positive recommendation for this pre-zoning request.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council?
We discussed in work session about a traffic light when they get to how many units built out?
We discussed about a secondary road when we got to road 30 units. We didn't discuss traffic light that I recall, but there are plans for a light to be plugged in, which we discussed at the Planning Commission level at Pinion Drive at a split cost between the developer, AlDOT, and maybe somebody else. It's not going to be the city, it's going to be the developer. In my opinion, it ought to be the developer's responsibility. He's the one developing this property. But that's something we'll cross, but that will be required. The reports that are already out there shows the requirement for light, and just so everybody is aware, I'm afraid of what 31's starting to look like with the lights that are either in place or planned. And I'm going to try to do this without stumbling the ball. Of course, you got one at 181 and 31. You got one at Eastern Shore Boulevard in 31, right there across from Rockwell at the Marathon. There's one planned for Stroh Road with development from Brentwood back there. That once they meet the threshold, there'll be a light there. 106 or 107 lots, okay? I do know that stands right now. They're starting the planning of adding turning lanes in that area in the next few weeks. That's the only update I can give you about Stroh Road. This light, which will probably be at Pinion Drive, unless another location can be secured for a light to better serve that. And then you've got one up there by Stone Bridge, Bedrock. And then there's another light planned for, I think it's Dedication Avenue. It used to be Jenkins Pit Road. There's a light scheduled for there. So that sure is an awful lot of lights coming up on 31. Certainly it would be required from AlDOT to form some kind of system for timing of those lights. That would all be required to make them flow properly. But we would be insistent upon that. But I wanted the council and the public to hear what plans there are for 31 with the flow. I know it's a big concern. It's a lot. The growth is up on 31, while some of it's in the city, most of it's not. So I wish we had more control about what's happening, but that is what they have. And, you know, people, I do believe that people that have property have the right to develop it as long as it meets codes and meets zoning and meets all the requirements that are required to be developed. So, any other comments from any of the council members?
One thing I would say, when we talk about the requirements that these guys have to meet to be able to do this, they do have to get the requirements from the utility providers. The basic infrastructure items have to be able to accommodate that, and that is in getting those things checked off before they're allowed to go any further to make it to this section. So I just wanted to clarify that as well.
Certainly no subdivision can be built without the utilities and infrastructure in place. It wouldn't be allowed by either the city or the state, for that matter, or the county. So,
yes, absolutely. I just wanted to clarify, because there's so many times that there's misconceptions, that misunderstandings that there are not adequate support for those things, and I wanted people to know that there are those types of things that do go into it before it makes it to this stage. So infrastructure is indeed there.
any other discussion from the council? I'd like to announce that we'll have a public hearing on this item Monday, July 1st, to hear any comments in favor of or in opposition to the proposed ordinance. I'd like to present Resolution 1414, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter in agreements with Sunset Contracting, Inc. for repairs at Mendota Drive. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed resolution approving a contract with Sunset Contracting, Inc. in the amount of $5,800 to install a concrete flume on an existing weir inlet on the right-of-way of 33850 Mendota Drive. A copy of the proposal is attached as Exhibit 1 in the amount of $5,800.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve resolution number 1414-2024.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the resolution is adopted. I'd like to present Resolution 1415, 2024, a resolution amending the employee pay classification guidelines. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed resolution amending the employee pay classification guidelines and related to the administrative pay schedule. This does not affect the fire department or police department pay schedules. In particular, attached as attached as an exhibit is the pay schedule, including 2 new positions: Senior Center Administrative Assistant and Director of Marketing and Director of Senior Services, and establishing a pay grade and classification for those positions. Otherwise, the schedule remains the same.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? You know, as the city grows, as we add employees, change job classifications and descriptions, we'll have these things come up every once in a while. It's just a readjusting of the pay classification guidelines. Any further discussion? Do I have a motion?
Motion to adopt Resolution 1415, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes. Resolution is adopted. I'd like to present Resolution 1416, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with an emergency network for cloud-based EMS and fire reporting software. I think all of you had an additional packet given to us from Mr. Connor. David?
Mayor, this is a proposed resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with emergency networking for cloud-based EMS and fire reporting software, subject to any changes deemed necessary by the mayor. We have had some conversations with the company regarding proposed amendments to the master service agreement, to which is my understanding they're okay with those changes. We made those changes and submitted them as an amendment. In particular, this will provide information, data collection, and analysis and opportunities for the fire department to preserve their information for calls and all other aspects of emergency service reporting. It is for an annual fee and charge. There is an installation charge and setup. It will renew automatically on an annual basis. The total amount for the service is $9,145. For the one-time charges and fees, and annual fees are $4,745.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? Do I have a motion to adopt?
Make a motion we adopt resolution number 1416, 2024.
As amended. As amended.
As amended. Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the resolution is adopted. I'd like to present Resolution 1417, 2024, a resolution disposing of surplus property. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, Alabama Code Section 11-43-56 states that the municipal governing body is control over the personal property and assets of the city, including the power to dispose of unneeded personal property. We have an item that is no longer needed for public or municipal purposes, and depending on how long you keep a vehicle and how many miles you put on one, we have a slightly used 2008 Ford Expedition that will be made available for sale and disposal in accordance with the terms and conditions deemed necessary by the mayor and city clerk.
Just for giggles, Chief, how many miles that vehicle got on it? 300,000, easy 300,000 miles, if anybody has an interest.
Does it still run?
No, well, it doesn't run. Okay, any discussion on this item? Do I have a motion?
I
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 1417, 2024.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, resolution is adopted. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1419, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for services between the city of Spanish Fort and the Spanish Fort Sports Association. Mr. Connor?
This is a continuation of the long-term relationship between the city and the Spanish Fort Sports Association to provide league play and other activities for the citizens of the city of Spanish Fort. This contract is for the provision of league play for baseball and softball for the general public. The amount of the contract is $20,000, and the association agrees to provide, manage and operate the softball and baseball league play within the city and be responsible for all aspects of the program. This is for the remainder of this calendar year.
Thank you, Ms. Connor. Discussion from the council? This is the first reading and will be on your July 1st agenda. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1420, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for provisions of athletic camps. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed agreement with Chase Smith, who is the head coach, athletic director, and also the consultant for the city of Spanish Fort regarding athletic activities and facilities. This agreement is for the provision of athletic camps at Spanish Fort High School for all sports offered at Spanish Fort High School. The term of the contract is $32,000 less cost of workers' compensation insurance. This will cover the cost of all the coaches, the base pay for the coach for each camp, the camp director, overall director, and all employee costs associated with the provisions of the camps. It has reporting requirements on when those camps are to occur and the amount of money paid to each coach. In addition, the camps will be a minimum of 2 days, and based on the cost that's paid by the city, they are allowed to collect a camp fee, but that camp fee cannot exceed $25 per participant based on the contribution provided by the city.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion? I do have one item, Becky. I think, did you just copy last year's contract? If you remember right, during budget process this year, we raised that to $42,000. If you'll look at that, this is being introduced tonight, and I just now called it. But that was what we worked through the, I believe that is accurate, but we can discuss it tomorrow, okay? Any other discussion on that item? All right, this being introduced will be on July 1st agenda. Any other business coming before the council tonight? Motion to adjourn.
Before we do, I would just encourage everybody again to go eat at David's Catfish. They're suffering a little bit because of the work being done on Highway 31, and it's really good catfish, so go support a local business.
And I will tell you tomorrow, thank you, Kurt, for reminding me of that. Tomorrow's Tuesday. They have a special on Tuesday. We can get the shrimp basket or the catfish basket or the chicken basket with 2 sides for $6.99. That's a heck of a deal, so I'm going to tell you, you need to go grab that. So they are great folks, and listen, the construction on 31's got a little stoved up, a little issue, so thank you, Kurt, for reminding me of that. Any other business come before council? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.